Love you.
Love you, baby.
Night.
Do I got the delay on? I don't. Good. Good. Is the chat not popping up? We got 120 people here. Where we at? Where my chat at? There they are. There's chat. I don't know. I don't know if Cheese wants to play Rainbow or not. I have not got my Rainbow account back. And they're giving me the same shit they gave me before. Where it's like, hey, you can link and unlink your account. This doesn't work, bud. Because all they do is click a button. Y'all getting wildfire smoke down there too? No, it's just raining here. Like we're getting the storms that are coming up from Georgia right now. Hey Shingo, thank you so much for the 10, man. Thank you. I'm having a very swag day. It's my day off. Not really, Jordan J. Not normally. I'm just looking for Reddit. Like I got a little bit of a headache because I didn't take my medicine yesterday. And just got back from dinner with the wifes. And I didn't stream yesterday. And for a very childish reason. But, you know, shit happens. Oh, we went to this local place to us and we got two hamburgers. They're basically homemade. Who is Mezzy? I don't know who that is. Maroon's Dagon. Yeah, I watched the Braves. Like part of me wanted to watch the Braves now instead of stream, but like I didn't stream yesterday. The cookout at Conway. Yeah. Thoughts on Jacob deGrom? Jacob deGrom's undergoing Tommy John surgery while the Rangers are undergoing a fundraiser to pay for Jacob deGrom going. Here's the thing, like, I think Jacob deGrom's a great pitcher. He's just glass. He's fragile, very, very fragile. And I think that's going to be his legacy. That he's just a fragile pitcher. But when I said that, isn't it funny how, like, when rich people ask for money, it's fundraising, but when poor people do it, it's panhandling? What is Mezzy? I don't know what it is. What's my favorite Hot Pocket? Philly cheesesteak. Yeah, I've been playing Diablo 4. My Barbarian died, and I spent yesterday leveling another Druid up. That's why I didn't stream. Blackout, how you been doing? I haven't been around much. Excited to see you able again. I've been doing well. I've been trying to get my rainbow back. Playing a lot of Diablo 4. I only play hardcore. No comment on the throwdown comment? What? Throwdown or what? I didn't see a throwdown comment. let's talk about Kick, Joe, man. Like, I seen on the other day on the PKA subreddit that, and this is a perfect example of people taking my shit out of context, right? I stated that what the video showed was me saying that'll be the last year I stream, right? That's all they showed. But they took out the whole section where, like, you know, Rumble offered me $12,000, basically $1,000 a month to stream on Rumble. And I said that even if they times that by 5 and gave me $60,000, that wouldn't be enough, because streaming 1 year on Rumble is probably be the last year I'd ever stream, because my fan base is on YouTube. And every time you jump to a new platform, your fan base doesn't really follow you. So like it's, and like all they said was like, oh, this is the last year I'll stream. Like I was like being a pity person when I was just explaining it. You know what I learned about the other day about El Presador? I learned that he killed 2 people. Do you do it with a curveball or fastball 672? Yeah. Like, this was back in the day when they had flip phones. And El Presador basically went to buy a flip phone from somebody on Craigslist. And him and his buddy jumped him. And he got self-defense. Nah, he ain't lied about it. I mean, if you can go back and look up the details, he even gave out where you can go find the details. There's about to be a fight at the game, it seems. Because you know Max Scherzer is going to throw one. No, I don't own any bench-made pocket knives. I only own one knife, and well, 2 knives. I own a Navy SEAL Elite by SOG, and I own a Leatherman utility knife. Those are the only 2 knives I own. Well, I own a machete too, if that counts as a knife. Do I think Luis Arias will hit 400? I hope he does. It'd be fucking awesome for baseball if he does. I mean, the dude's. Here's the thing, right? To me, hitting 400 is a bigger deal than Judge breaking like the American League home run record. Like, hitting 400 is fucking difficult. Just straight difficult. And nobody is talking about this man hitting 400. Did I know Blade was driving while drunk? Yes, I seen the video. I made a comment on it that, you know, if I knew where Blade lived at, I'd been at a tractor. Like, I was looking at the PKA Reddit just a minute ago, and like that's where I get most of my Blade information. Then you can like look here. Like this shit, right? Like this is a grown ass man. I don't know how old Blade is. I'm assuming he's either my age or a little older. Like he's shit faced, and like, which is strange because like every part of his body looks like a normal person except the midsection, which I'm the same way, right? But you know, it's. Dude, honestly, Blade should be in jail. Firefox Moz, is it? I always get hit with these comments. No, nobody's hit 400 since like Ted Williams did. Um, Tony Gwynn almost hit 494. Chipper batted 400 for a while, but he ended that season at like 360. No. You're past rehab. When you're driving drunk and gunning it through neighborhoods while live streaming, so not only are you trying to entertain people while driving, which is a distraction in itself, but you're inebriated off your ass. You're past the point of like slap on the wrist. You need some jail time. You need something to make you realize how bad you're fucking up. That's just my opinion, though. I think drunk drivers are the lowest of low.
Don't let them fool you. I fed them all.
Okay. See, are you going to give some proof about El Presser thing? Accusing somebody of murder is no joke. I mean, I'm learning it based off what he said. El Presser streams now, and he basically talked about it. And he basically, you have to go look it up. I'm not going to talk about it here, but if you want to go look at his streams, it's still up right now. You can go back and look at the stream. He talked about it. And he tells you to go look certain information up. If you look it up, it's legit. But it involves like his real name and like where he's from and stuff like that. So I'm not going to share it on my stream. I think Kelly's drank alcohol before, but Kelly's more of a wine mixer kind of girl. I look awful? Well, thank you. My Just for Men's kind of wearing off, so like my beard's coming back to being gray. But appreciate the look. How often have I watched mine and Boogie's fight back? Too many damn times. Too many times. Like, anytime somebody did a react to it, I watched it for the most part. And, like, I hated the way I looked in the second round, but, like what after Boogie's pants fell down, I wish I stayed boxing because I looked so much more graceful when I was boxing. Whereas when I started slugging it out, I looked slow and fat. Diaper Samurai, dude. Thank you for the $5. Wings, you grow your beard really, really long. I'll give you $100. It's got to be a big beard, though. I had a big beard before. I didn't like it. I like my beard I like my beard, like, low and tight now. Because, like, my beard's actually pretty thick, but it looks thin because of all the white hair. Oh, the Silverado. Here's my problem with the custom Silverado. I think the 2033s look nice. But you're not giving me enough information. Is it a Z71? Is it a two-wheel drive? I mean, I know they don't have a whole lot of features on the custom trim. But what features does it have? Does it have like the bed liner? Does it have the Z71 package? Does it have like the multi-flex tailgate? But if your big question is, should you get the 2.7? That's a great fucking question. And I think a lot of the people in my chat don't give a fuck about this question, but I want to talk about it because it's something I'm passionate about. Because I've considered getting the 2.7. Because, like, one of the people I'd love to be in my life is that dude that can have not the best and be perfectly happy with it, right? Like, I wish I could be the guy that could buy, like, a Crew Crab Custom Z71 and be happy with it. I don't have that in my blood, though. Like, I always want, like, the Trail Boss or the High Country, or, like, which granted, I have a mid-tier truck now, right? But, like, you know, like, to me, the give up with my truck is I didn't have leather seats. But the 2.7, in my opinion, is the best engine General Motors makes right now. Hear me out with this, right? 5.3 and the 6.2, they put out more energy. Because let's be real, horsepower is a measurement of energy. That's all it is. Horsepower doesn't determine how fast something is. It doesn't determine, how much something can pull. It determines how much energy the engine puts out. And that energy gets put out at different rates, right? For example, the 5.3 liter V8 puts out 355 horsepower at 5,600 RPM. So you pretty much have to have the truck completely wound up in like third gear to reach 355 horsepower. So this is bad for a couple reasons, which granted I have an Ecotec 3 5.3 liter V8. It's a nice engine. It gets great gas mileage. But is it fast? Does it pull well? Not really. The problem with the 5.3 is it creates all its power really high in the power band. So you need to be at 4,000 plus RPM to put any kind of energy out of the engine or to get any kind of real torque out of the engine. Anything less than that, it's going to sit low in the RPM and put out bare minimum like 180, 200 horsepower and just enough torque to just move the truck. But once you're in like an overdrive gear, you get 20 miles per gallon, right? It's a good truck. It's a good engine, but it isn't good at doing truck things. Whereas the 2.7 is a super energy dense engine, right? It puts out 310 horsepower, which is 45 less than the 5.3 with half the cylinders, right? It has cylinder deactivation, but not the same style as the 5.3. The 5.3 used hydraulic lifters, whereas like I forgot how the 2.7 does it, but the 2.7 can cut down to 2 cylinders. The big advantage of the 2.7 though is it can pull just about the same amount as the 5.3 now with the heavy towing package, but the 2.7 puts its peak torque out, which is 430 pounds at like 1,500 RPMs. Right? So at 1,500 RPMs, you're already putting peak torque out, and it maxes its horsepower out at 2,500 RPMs. So in the vast range that you're going to be driving in, which is 0 to 60, the 2.7 actually performs better than the 5.3 until you do wide open throttle. And very few people do wide open throttle in everyday driving. So until you want to put the foot all the way to the floor, the 2.7 outperforms the 5.3 well up to it. To put it on perspective, 8.1 liter V8, the gas V8 in diesels back in 2006, right? It's naturally aspirated, so it doesn't have to spool a turbo. So it starts with a higher torque, but the 2.7 reaches its torque band at 1,500 RPM and holds the torque band longer than the diesel engine. It's also built like a diesel. Right, Pathro, because a lot of people's like, I want a V8. Well, like, let's put it this way, right? The 2.7 puts out 310 horsepower. My 2002 Silverado had the 5.3 LS engine in it. An engine that people swear by, which is a great fucking engine, right? They put them in everything. They even LS swapped them. But it only put out 285 horsepower. The last iteration of the LS V8 in trucks, iron block style, only put out 315 horsepower, which is 5 horsepower more than the current 2.7. My big problem with the Custom, two things. One, the 2013, the grill's better than the old one, but it's still kind of tacky, right? Like that black Chevrolet, matte black Chevrolet bullshit kind of fucking ugly. I prefer the LT, you know, in that trim. And I hate the fact they don't have a productivity screen on the gauge cluster. Like I love the digital productivity screen. It makes the steering wheel look more symmetric. So because you have your cruise control on the left side, then you have like your productivity screen buttons on the right, so it looks even. And then you get like, you know, your 4-wheel drive. You get your 4-wheel drive app. You get your like gas mileage. You get a couple trips. You get your tire monitoring. You get your brake monitoring. Your air temperature monitoring and stuff like that. I like all that stuff on a car, and the custom doesn't really give you that. Logan, yeah, like it's a good and like people always talk like, oh, it's a turbocharged engine. Every every diesel truck you see on the road that's pulling, you know, 80,000 pounds is an inline six turbocharged engine, right? Almost all of them. And the reason they're all inline sixes is because no matter because they scale well. You know, cruise ships use big fucking inline sixes, diesels. What is a V6? The V in a V6 is how the heads sit. Basically, you basically have like the head sit in a V pattern, whereas like inline they sit in a straight line, and the in like V6 and V8s and things like that. They're there. They sit in that pattern more for space reasons than anything else. Because what ends up happening is you can't do 8 cylinders in a row unless the car's nose is like this fucking long. So they made the engine smaller by setting them in a V pattern. So you can get more cylinders under the hood without extending the car's length. Because car length is an issue, especially now, especially with like garages and like parking spots and parking lots and, you know, parking on the road. Like cars getting longer and bigger all the time. Real men get V8s, pimp. Again, real men understand what they're buying. That's what real men actually understand what they're getting. No, most cars are actually inline fours because an inline four is basically all it takes to get a person somewhere and back. How do you get over a fear of aggressive drivers? You let them do what they want to do. Honestly, when somebody's being super aggressive, I just let them in. Like, for example, like generally you get aggressive drivers mainly in what you call a zipper merge. A zipper merge is where like you're driving in a straight line and somebody's coming into like a lane that's ending, or like they cut a lane off and you got to like, yeah, the cars have got to slowly feed into the main line. And you get people that fly up from the back and try to force their way in. Just fucking let them in. Don't. It's not a time to take a stance when you're in control of a 2-ton missile. No, I don't experience road rage. I used to as a kid. I used to hate when people passed me and how people did, but like as I've gotten older, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I got paid out for the boxing match today, actually. Happy punching in my paycheck today. 11K, Leon. I won the fight. I got the fight win purse. Yeah, there was $1,000 bonus for the winner. No, I didn't get fight of the night. I knew I wasn't get. There was another bonus for knockout of the night, but like as soon as I seen like the Latin guy knock out like the professor, I'm like I ain't getting knockout of the night because mine was a stoppage, and he put that man out, put him down for his nap. Dude, honestly, that referee was ready to stop it almost at the point where Boogie's pants fell down. Well, I thought it was dumb because when we were in the back doing medicals, Boogie said his coach's game plan was to punch me out, was to just defend until he got punched out. And I'm like, dog, I wasn't going to get that tired. Like there was no point in like the 3 minutes I had to fight somebody. I was going to get so tired I was going to be out. Because I trained for like 6 minutes, like high intensity. And then they cut the round in half. So like at no point was because like, I was able to go out there and throw haymakers the entire time. I mean, did I look that tired? Dude, Boogie was out of it. Like, I don't know if you noticed because he almost fell into the referee on his way out. Like, he was out of it. It's a fight, man. Like the whole thing is like I was telling, Overflow and Keem, I'm like, it's not my job to look after Boogie in the ring. Like, that's the referee's job. And that's what happened. I don't have no ill will against Boogie. I think Boogie's a great person. Like, well, my experience with him, he's been a good person. No, not really. I don't like fighting. But man, like Keem has been hitting me up, wanting me to fight in the next event, and like my hip is still hurting. But like, man, that money's looking right. But I need to get my hip fixed. The picking the foot up off the ground, Bojangles, is just something I've always done when I threw baseballs. Like when I haul back and throw, like I always had my right foot come off the ground. It's something I probably shouldn't do, but it's from baseball. I didn't break my hip. I got a pinched nerve in my hip that makes my leg go numb. Will I get diamond on R6? Most likely. I have a 2-win loss right now. That's almost a guaranteed champion in the current system. Well, I got so good. All right, so here's the fight right here.
Oh my goodness! Right off the bat, wings in.
There's that 1-2, and like Boogie throws something at me there. I forgot. Like, Boogie's telling me to come on. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll throw the 1-2, see where it has. And I'm like, oh, I seen it shook him right there. So I throw it again. There's the third one. And I throw 3 there just to see how it reacts.
Immediate pressure by Wings.
So here it comes. Watch Boogie's face, the right side of his face after this. So I feint. It's like what I'm looking for. I think I said this before. What I'm looking for is like I'm staring at his right. I'm staring at this hand right here because I want this hand to move. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm coming.
Immediate pressure by
I want
Wings.
the hand to move. I see the hand jerk. Boom! I hit him.
Oh my gosh! He is putting a clinic.
These boys have some heavy hands.
I got him with the uppercut right there. You're gonna see, like he's gonna see the side of his face here.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is how they arrived on those mark carts. As you can see, pulling up his pants there. They were playing bumper cars.
Like the referee was almost ready to call it here. I'm over here, like you see me shaking my head because Paul's sitting there talking to me, telling me what I need to do.
Well, Oh, we've got to get the shorts right.
You know, we've heard the term.
Like, look at it. Look at the side of his face where I hit him at. Like, I fucking landed there. Like, if I had on, like, thinner gloves, Boogie would have hit the dirt.
Bell, but Boogie has been saved by the shorts. The shorts kept falling. This could have been a strategy by Boogie, imagine.
He's lost some weight probably training for this fight.
It looks like they're taping him up, taping those shorts.
Put it around the waistband.
Trying to avoid this London crowd.
Hey,
from seeing
Shibley.
a full
I got into
moon.
an accident in Augusta, Georgia. Had to rent a car back to Oregon. They wanted 1900 one way. And I said,
Yeah, yeah. And it
I
looks
said
like they're
if
taping him
it
up here.
bought it
Taping
a Mustang
this
GT 2020.
This is what I like to see.
Shit.
They should not be coming
You got a
off
5
after this.
liter?
And you know what?
You got pictures of it? Send me pictures of it, man.
Take note, all boxers, all crossover boxers, you should be using this to reserve your gas
Like,
tank
Boogie's
and
all
replenish
fucking
your
red and
energy
shit. Like,
in future fights.
like he's tired as he could possibly be right
Very
now.
smart.
Oh my God, this is awesome. Here we go.
Wings just patiently waiting. Oh,
Like you see it every time. Like, I don't know if you guys see it. Like, watch his hand. Let me put the shit in slow mo. This is something I noticed in the fight.
So,
Let's scrub a little bit here. Watch his lead hand. Every time I feint, his hand goes up like this. It's something I noticed in the fight. You can't see it there. There's a feint. I feint with the head.
patiently wait.
So all I did was I just cupped the arm every time. And it worked every time on the fight. I missed there, but he comes right back in. I get him with a left. And then boom, right in the mouth. I miss again. So like Boogie doesn't know where he's at right now. So come up underneath, get him again. Anyway, it's nice to see you're still doing your thing. You're driving a Mustang from Augusta, Georgia, Oregon with a cat and being a bigger guy is something I'll never forget. Dude, you should still send me pictures if you still have it. I don't know how loud this thing is, and I'm sorry about that. Because I'm playing, I have my headset off. But yeah, like he would constantly just pick this up. So like, and Boogie wasn't stronger than me. So like, I would either feint and I would bring the arm down, and I would control his right arm the whole time with my left. Thank you for the 20, dude. Thank you so much. No, I'm not on TRT. I got off TRT but within a month because it was just turning to estrogen on me. I would totally do PK here at my house. But the problem is like Kyle won't travel. Yeah, the fan is going ham. Let's lower it. I don't want to say what Keem offered, but it was considerably more than what I got to fight Boogie. And I'll tell you this, it's more than enough to pay my truck off. The podcast thing, we're supposed to be getting our cameras here in the next week or so. After that, I don't know. Like, Tommy is in Germany, so that's going to be an issue as well, because that's an issue we ran in with the Eddie when we did the podcast show, because Eddie was on a 6-hour difference. So that's something we haven't really discussed. And I told them that we need to get together, but I'm trying not to take any kind of leadership role, because I just want to be a host and not like leading the podcast. Tommy C. He lives in Germany. You trying to take out a personal loan? What loan company to use? I mean, like, I use my bank. Personally. Like, what I ended up doing is, like, I had to get a personal loan recently to change my air conditioner. So, like, I signed up for a loan with the air conditioner company. Got the loan there just to get the unit in, and then I went and got a personal loan at a lower interest rate from my bank and paid that off without collateral. But the interest rate was half of what the company, the air conditioner, hooked me up with. Sometimes you have to take out personal loans. Thank you, Lou, for the $5. I'm sorry, I seen it and I didn't come back to it. Wiley Coyote, you seem like you're a Dave Ramsey fan. Which Dave Ramsey's made a lot of motherfucking money. And Dave Ramsey's giving advice based off that's unrealistic for the average person. Shibley, I'm playing hardcore, man. If you want to play, we can go together. I play crossplay. So, podcasting is about being entertaining. We already got pull, right? Like because Keemstar is basically running the podcast. Like he's the owner. We already got places we can go. Like for example, like we could be there and do like a commentary track on every Misfits fight. There's other people that work with Keemstar is willing to be sponsors and stuff like that for the podcast. Like we already have pull. So we're looking for just creating the most entertaining mesh of hosts possible. And like this is one of my ideas because like Boogie's more nerdy. I'm like a mix between nerd and redneck, but like I'm more liberal. Boogie's more in the middle. So we need like a in your face like conservative like guy that's completely different point of view than everybody else. Because differing point of views is what people want to see. People want to see you clash and talk about things and have different questions from different perspectives. The only problem with Rich is I feel like Rich is in the same boat as I am. He's a little more liberal than anything else. You're a conservative gamer nerd. So let me ask you this, Angie, I don't know how to say your name. What do you think about Tim Scott? Dude, Low Tier God was one of my choices. I don't know what political affiliation Low Tier God has, but I thought he'd be a good third host. Here's the thing with Dave Ramsey, right? Since the chat's still talking about Dave Ramsey will never steer you wrong. So if you want to take his advice and read his books and do the baby steps program, you're not going to be broke at the end of it, right? He's not telling you to invest in Bitcoin or buy NFTs or other dumbass shit. Remember when people called me a dumbass for not buying into Bitcoin and NFTs? Remember that? King N64, you should do a comic review of ISOM and tell us what the story is and what ISOM superhero. Where's the suggestion coming from? I hate comics. Dude. I don't even know what ISOM is. Hey, Paul Magic, long time no see. Yeah, Low Tier God's another lolcow. Bitcoins right now is at 28K. Yep. You know what ain't in 28K? 26K? Everything else on the fucking planet. That's in the whole like cybercoin community. What was I saying? I was saying something else. But here's the thing. Dave Ramsey doesn't take into account risk versus reward, or the fact that you're not going to live forever, right? Dave Ramsey, backstory. Dave Ramsey used to flip houses, right? Dave Ramsey was born in an affluent community. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, so his daddy had money. And through this, his daddy had connections at the bank. So Dave Ramsey started getting like a couple $1 million loans to buy houses, pay people to fix houses, and then sell houses. This is how he made all his money to begin with when he's young in age. He basically had what you call a floor. Basically, his business ran off a floor. A floor means that all the money that you're using in flipping is bank assets, right? They're not your own money. You don't own the houses. You're basically making money off of the transactions through the bank, right? Well, basically, the bank he was using got sold to a bigger bank, and the bigger bank said, well, here's this 26-year-old kid that has a $2 million line of credit. We're going to call all his credit right now. We need to get paid up front, and it broke him, right? He lost all his money, penniless, right? See you, T. And so he tells you never to ever get a bank loan, right? But he doesn't understand is he was sat on a seat of privilege. Most 22-year-old kids aren't getting a $2 million line of credit from their local bank because his daddy did business with that bank for so long, right? Most people aren't going to be in that situation. Most people can't afford to buy a car outright. And some people can't afford not to go to work, right? Like, there's a reason there's a market for like $10,000 cars with a warranty. Because if you buy a $10,000 Mitsubishi Mirage, right, it comes with a 5-year warranty that the car is going to work. So that's 5 years that you can guarantee that you can get to work. Because a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck and have less than $1,000 to their name. All right, so like that's why that segment happens. And sometimes loans make sense versus other things. For example, before the world went to shit, you could get a car loan for 0 to 2%, right? So instead of buying a $25,000 car outright, you'd get the loan with a 2% interest rate, and you take that $25,000 you're going to buy the car and you can invest it and make 6%. So that's a 4% return on investment versus just buying the car outright. So that's when a loan makes sense. Loans currently right now don't make sense because if you get a new car, even with an 800 credit, you're looking at 6 to 8% interest unless they're running like a special line of credit through like GM Financial or something of that nature. Palpatine returns. That is incorrect. The average American does not have 10K saved up. Because like the problem right now with cars is at 8%, there's nothing you can invest in that's going to get you an 8% return. So like a car right now, which is a depreciating asset to begin with, you're also tying up money, so you're going to be paying more money for a depreciating asset that the money that you're saving for getting the financing, you can't put anywhere to make the money in return. So like it makes no sense to buy a new car at this current state. But like not everybody can find a $4,000 car that can dependably get them to work either. All right. And then like the fact is, even if you saved every dollar and you lived to Dave Ramsey's plan, what's to stop somebody from like running a red light and T-boning you and killing you? So you spent your whole life never enjoying what you've worked for, and you basically squandered your youth for wealth. And then what's going to happen on the other end of the spectrum? When you get older, you're going to start having medical issues, and all that wealth that you made when you're young while you're working and driving piles of shit cars, you're going to be spending it at the hospital because you need, diabetes treatment, or you got cancer, or like you have some type of blood disease. Right? So like there's a lot of factors that Dave Ramsey doesn't come into it. And life isn't black and white. Life is dynamic, right? Life is about the journey. It's all about understanding what you like. If you want a nice car and you enjoy a nice car, fucking get a nice car. As long as you understand that as long as you can cover who you are, put away for a rainy day and be happy. The problem is overextending yourself. Can I get my opinion on Ram trucks? If you want to buy a Ram truck and you're going to get rid of it after the warranty runs out, go for it. No, car's not the worst investment you can make. The worst investment you can make is probably going out to drink. Because not only you got to buy an Uber, you got to buy an Uber there, you got to buy an Uber back. You're gonna pay $8 for a shot of liquor. You're gonna be fucking shit faced, and you're gonna be throwing money to try to impress girls. That's probably the worst investment you can make is going out to drink. And then if you don't follow all those rules I just gave you, now you're risking other people's lives and committing crimes. What if you get a bad chick? I ain't trying to say there ain't no good girls at the club. But the type of girls I want don't go to the club. Vintage. Did I read your super chat? I'm sorry, man. I missed it. Let's see. Vintage. Congrats on the payout bit. Well, thank you, dude. Thank you so much, Vintage. Where's the wife? She's laying down watching Judge Judy. It's her bedtime. Is buying a house a good investment? That's a loaded question right now. For the most part, buying land is the best investment for your money to date, right? Even better in gold and silver, right? Because one, most people are going to build your land up at no cost to you. For example, when the land I lived on right now was first bought, it was 1.1 acres of woods. Since the land, we've owned the land, a elementary school's been built near us, a convenience store's been built near us. They're building housing near us now. Like they're building a bridge over the Waccamaw River, which is going to make pretty soon my property being 15 minutes from the beach, right? So all this is nothing that costs me money, but it makes my land more valuable and more desirable. And here's the big kicker with land: they don't make any more of it, so it's never going to go down in value for the most part. The second most valuable thing is housing, right? But you got to get the right house. Like, I don't have the right house. I was young when I took my house over. If I had to do it again, I would have never took this house over on a verbal agreement. I would have actually went and bought a house, right? Because, like, when I was a young man, you could get a 3-bedroom, 1-garage house for $126,000. That same house right now is $250,000, $300,000, right? So if I would have bought that house, I would have doubled my investment right there. The issue with buying a house in today's market is we're on the precipice of a housing crash. And this is speculative, so don't take this as gospel, right? So there's a good chance you'll go and buy a $400,000 house, and then 6 months from now, your house will be worth 20% less, right? So you instantly lose 20% of you're instantly underwater on your house, plus whatever interest rate you got on your house, since the interest rate is actually higher now than it was, say, 6 years ago. The car market isn't going to crash. The housing market will. And here's the reason the car market's not going to crash. The car market's not going to crash because banks aren't fucking stupid. What's going to end up happening, because like right now, if you have a whole bunch of, like right now there's so many repos of like stimulus check ballers, right? People that were getting like $800 extra on like their unemployment checks, $2,500 checks every 6 months, or $4,000 checks every 6 months, whatever it might be on the stimulus payments. They would go out there and they would put $5,000-$6,000 down on a car of whatever it might be, and then when the stimulus money went out, they couldn't afford the car payment, right? So that, and the fact that interest rates, you know, are through the roof, and like more people have $1,000 car payment a month than ever before in history, get a lot of repos. Right now, repos aren't keeping up because there's not enough land to put all the repos on. So there's people out there who are not making their car payment, not getting repoed because the repo companies can't move the cars fast enough because nobody wants to buy the cars at auction. But what banks are doing is they're buying land and they're putting cars up. So they're going to slowly feed the market with the repo cars to make the money back, and that's going to save the car market from crashing. Because they'll drip feed the cars into the auctions, and the auctions will drip feed the cars into like private sellers. And since there's less new cars available, that means used cars are holding their value more than normally. Dude, $15K. I know a YouTuber right now that bought a G-Wagon with $100,000 markup on it. And dude, man's $100K in debt right now on his loan. Let's not forget the G-Wagon's fucking ugly. I've never looked at a G-Wagon and been like, yeah, I gotta have that. Do I think electric cars will take over the market? Fuck no, I don't. If anything, electric cars are messing the market up. Like, look at Ford right now. Ford Lightning is 100% a failure at this point. I think it's safe to say the Ford Lightning is a failure. The Ford Mach-E was a failure. That's two electric cars that Ford put billions with a B into. With a B that failed. Right? And Ford is responding to this $2 billion loss by stating they're about to lose $3 billion more. So how they're fixing it is they're making the F-150 cheaper to make, but not cheaper to buy. The F-150 is supposed to go 5% up in MSRP in 2024, but they're taking almost 2,000 parts off of the F-150. Right? They're redesigning it and making the parts, you know, I don't know how they're doing it, but they're supposed to take 2,000 parts off the F-150. So, like, it's going to be cheaper to make, but more to buy. And they're going to use this extra money here to subsidize the losses in the electric car market. Opinion on Prime, like Prime Drink, Amazon Prime. Can you be more specific, Deb Rabbit? Leon, I love cars. Cars and baseball are my passions in life. I don't know if you can tell. Like, those are the two things I follow the most. Cars and baseball. I did see that 672. Let's see. Should I consider investing in an independent company working on hydrogen cars, or should I stay safe and invest in Toyota because they are focusing on hydrogen? Toyota's actually struggling right now. You might not know this, but Toyota went through leadership. Like, their old leadership stepped down, and they recently got a new president of Toyota, and they're currently struggling to get suppliers. That's why there's such a small, like, bevy of new Toyota cars out there compared to, like, Stellantis, for example. So, but Toyota usually has the best take. Like, Toyota was the first with a hybrid car, and hybrid is the future. Is there going to be an electric platform that matters? Yeah, but the electricity is going to come from hydrogen cells. The reason that they don't do hydrogen cells currently is hydrogen cells are very, very explosive, right? Lots and lots of energy, and it doesn't transfer energy well, right? So basically, you take hydrogen and you put a system in there that transfers hydrogen to electricity. You mix that with a diesel engine, and that's the car of the future. Chris B., you're saying, here's the thing about dependability, all right? Dependability is going down because of complexity, right? Let's take General Motors, for example, because I know General Motors the best. The 5.3 LS engine, considered one of the best reliable engines ever made, right? People worship the engine. 5.3 iron block, all day. Well, they took that same engine and they put cylinder deactivation in it. Now it's unreliable because it added moving parts. Every time you add more moving parts, you get less reliability. The new Tundra is having issues right now. There's very little of them out there, so it's not that big of a deal. But like, if they were making Tundras as well as they would make them normally, it would be a huge outroar in the community, because the new Tundra 3.5 twin turbos are kind of trash. And here's what's really going to fuck up companies like Toyota and General Motors and whoever else, right? If they don't fuck themselves up investing in electric cars. China is going to come into the American market, and when China does that, it's going to produce cheap cars with a warranty, and that's going to fill the need that every other automotive manufacturer didn't want to fill anymore. And it's going to give birth to another, like, Mazda, Subaru, Toyota, Nissan, like, bubble that happened in the 80s. Like, Toyota and Honda and all them got popular in the 80s by selling cheap cars that were fuel efficient. And China is on the precipice right now of doing the same thing again, because all the Hondas and Toyotas of the world, they don't want to sell those cheap cars no more. They want to sell the expensive ones. Eventually, all cars will be electric. The problem with all cars being electric is electricity is made by another natural resource called coal. Is there other ways to make it? Sure, but those ways can't fulfill the need of electricity on the level we would need if we had 300 million fucking electric cars. Not to mention that batteries, when the faster you quick charge batteries, the less they last. Dumb question, but please, what's on Pikachu's head? Pikachu's head. He has his getting wasted cup on. I was supposed to get 2 Pepsis and put in there and, like, put his things in his Pepsis. But, like, he has like one of those beer cozy things, beer cozy hats on. He was trying to party hard. I don't know if there's any Chinese company selling it soon, but this is all speculation. But China does sell cheap cars and cheap electric cars, and more and more you're seeing more and more people, like, pop it up on, like, YouTube. Let me show you, for example. Let me grab. Right now, people have to import, like, stuff, but like for example here, like, this is an electric truck that people are buying out of China. that is completely street legal. Granted, it it looks like American cars, and they'll probably get some things out there. But this is, you can get this thing for like $2,000, and it's completely street legal. And you say it looks dumb as hell, and it's not going to be fast, but some people just want something to get to the store and back. All it's going to take is, this has got to be a little bigger, right? Because I don't think it meets like United States regulation for bumper height. So what they need to do is they need to put a little bit better suspension on it, put a little thicker bumper, and sell these without having to buy like shipping rates. And these would sell in the United States. I mean, that's also another possibility. Tata Motors. Tata Motors owns like Rolls Royce and like Land Rover and people like that. If they made a cheap car and brought it to America, it could be India, not China, that does the cheap things. We did get a donation. Scorpion, we love you, from Mia Khalifa. Well, thank you. I don't know what the other word means. That BRUJ word. I don't know what that is. But if I was a betting man and you wanted to bet on like something long term, Tata Motors or like an up and coming like Chinese ICE car development like company, those would be two things I'd invest in, like stock wise. All it takes is one pothole. You know what the cool thing about these electric trucks, though, is they have dump beds. Like, they literally have a bed that can dump. They have dump beds. They got air conditioning. The whole nine. And to put it like this. For $2,000, you can get this little electric truck, and that's cheaper than some electric lawnmowers in America. I've always been a Druid main. Got jokes. Yeah, like look. Like right there's one. 42-inch Ryobi electric lawnmower. $5,500 on sale right now for $4,000. $3,000, $5,000, $5,000. Like the push mower's a little cheaper, but like some of the Rhine lawnmowers, electric, you can get two of those Chinese trucks for the same price as this electric lawnmower. Oh, they're 100% made parts from China because Ryobi is a Chinese company. Which the company that owns Ryobi, who like actually they're Japanese. I'm sorry, Ryobi's Japanese. But they own like Ryobi, Milwaukee. There's like a oh, they're owned by the Chinese now, but they originally were a Japanese company. They're owned by a company called Tektronic Industries, which is founded in Hong Kong. They bought Milwaukee, DeWalt, Ryobi. They have like 17 different like arms. But yeah, their lawnmowers are going for twice what these electric trucks are going for. Snap-on is made in the United States, but like Snap-on pretty much snaps your fucking neck trying to pay for it. Google the tallest building in the world. Oh, I got you. I got you. This is what he was referring to. The Burj Khalifa. Which I'm kind of hoping that Misfits go to Dubai, because Dubai is a country I've always wanted to fucking go to. Like, I think that'd be a great experience to go to Dubai and have a fight. Like, that's where I was hoping my next fight would be. Yeah, I know who Mia Khalifa is. That's a porn star. Yeah, Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Yeah, it's a city, but you know what I'm saying. It's like going to London. London's in England, but like to me, London's like its own infrastructure. We'd be broken up most likely. You most likely would have to go to Boston to like France somewhere, and then France to say it'd be broken up, but it'd take like 24 hours to get there. Build a trail boss. I mean, we could. Let's see. Trucks. Like, I like it says it's starting at 34,600. Ain't nobody buying that shit. Nobody's buying the $34,000 Silverado. All right, so let's go. Let's do the short bed. So, like, we could do the custom trail boss, or we could do the LT trail boss. See, like, Jordy, if money wasn't an option, this is what I'd go with. The 6'2". Right? My shit obviously be red hot. I like this glacial blue, and I also like the tan, which they don't offer here. There is no tan option. Oh, actually, is this it? Sandu metallic? Yeah, I like this color too. Sandu metallic. There's actually a tan. Like, it'd either be that or it'd be red hot. We would go... Like, part of me wants to go jet black because it sells better. But, you know, your boy like to do with the inside Rudolph with the outside red nose. But man, I hate that white. That white does not go with the red. It's going black. Like, they need more of a tan, like, color. Like, I love, like, a brown interior with a red outside. You're going to need assist steps. Look at that price. Go, boy. This package 2. Next step, exterior. Well, the 342 axle. Oh, you can't get the 342 axle with the 6.2? Cancel. That's something I didn't know. Oh, we most definitely want the sunroof. What kind of hater doesn't have the sunroof? How your bitch gonna hang out the top of my truck? Get the multiflex tailgate. Oh, we gotta get the adaptive cruise control. That's a must. A side bed view camera, yes. All right, accessories, don't need accessories. So like, ideally, my trouble also cost a house. Fucking like, let's finance this bitch. $1,100 a month at 5.9 APR. Let's adjust for payments. 72 months at 5.9. Let's do a realistic one, right? Realistically, you're looking at 8% in the day's market. Or 7, whatever. Oh, so they only give you 2 choices? So you're looking at $11,040. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But it's so pretty. Yeah, honestly, there's no way in fucking hell I'd pay $70,000 for a truck. Like, here's the thing, right? I think the most I'd ever pay for a car is like 40 grand. The Flex 1, have you ever played any of the rare survival horrors like Clock Tower, The Haunting Ground, Siren, Rule of Rose? I've never played any of those, but I've watched people play Clock Tower. Isn't that the one where like the dude has the big scissors? And it's alright. I honestly, like, I've been looking a lot into like this game called Amnesia: The Bunker. That's what I've been about recently in survival horror land. I don't like playing those games because they fuck with my anxiety, but I fucking love watching people play them. Yeah, it's a side view camera on the bed. So basically, there's like a camera that can look down the side of the bed and stuff like that. Base is loaded right now with 2 outs. Hold the fuck up. Oh, I have an idea I want to tell you guys about. Let me remember that motherfucker though. Here's an idea I've had, and I'm wondering why nobody's done this. Like, you ever guys hear about Lending Tree? Basically, it's basically where you like you need a loan, so you like the banks compete over the loan for you. So you basically put in your information, like, yo, I need this much loan, this is my information, and then all the banks come in and you can pick the one who gives you the best deal. They need to do this with cars. You'd be like, I'm looking for this type of car for this amount of money, and then banks come in, and then car dealers come and like give you offers and show them what they have, and then you decide if you want to go see it or not. So like, you have different car dealers with the same type of car competing for your business. No, that's not. CarMax is completely different. Dude, Money Mike ain't been very money this year. Like, if Money Mike could have walked and got the game tied for Acuna with the bases loaded, that'd been must-see TV. I haven't missed a donation. I'm looking at them. CLR, what makes you think you're an expert on this? Why would you listen to anything you say about it? CLR77. You don't got to listen to me, but I know what I'm talking about. Joe, I've been looking for a Subaru BRZ or Toyota GR86. Apparently, you can't even order one if you want one. You have to wait for a deal to get allocated unit. I hope it's what you want. Well, you could. What you'd have to do is you have to go to a dealer, and here's the thing: when you want a very rare car, you're gonna get bent over the fucking table. Like, for example, if you wanted a RAV4 Prime right now, electric car, you're going to pay a markup even in today's market because there's not making many, and the ones that are made are highly desirable. So they're going to bend you over and get you off without raw dog with no lube. What kind of car would I buy if I only had $15,000? All depends on what I need to do with that car. Like, if I only had $15,000, what would I own? I'd probably still own a truck. It'd just be an older truck. You can get an older truck for $15K. But if I just needed a car to get around, I'd probably either buy like an old Buick or not a newer Buick, but I mean like a V6 3800 Buick, or I'd get a Camry. Toyota Camry. You can get a really nice Toyota Camry 15K. Let me tell you a thing I had fall into my lap recently, and if somebody beat me to it. One of my wife's sisters bought her boyfriend a 2021 Toyota Camry TRD with the V6, loaded up, and she put $15,000 down on it. The car was $31,000, so she took half the price off, and then she gives this car to this dude. He's just got to keep the payments up, $15,000 car note, and he doesn't make one payment on the car, so the bank repos it, and I get an offer dropped on my lap to buy a 2021 Toyota Camry TDR. TDR stands for Toyota Racing Development, for people that don't know, for $15,000. I was salivating. I was ready to run to the bank that day, and then her mama decided she wanted to buy it. Because I could have took that car and flipped it and made $12,000 or more. Because all I had to do was pay off all I had to do was get a loan to pay off the existing balance, or they'd lose the car anyway. What would you buy for $3K? Nothing. You pretty much can't get a car that has an engine in it for $3K right now. I mean, like, that's just me being honest. Like, can you find a car for $3K? Yeah, you can. But it's hard. Let's give an example, right? So Facebook Marketplace. This is Camaro, $3,000. All right. Me and my wife always wanted an old 5th or 6th gen Camaro. I mean, it's a 3rd or 4th gen Camaro. And like, you run into issues where like half these cars don't have like interiors in them. Right? Like this car sitting in the bushes, sitting in the woods. Engine out. Like, you pretty much can't get a car that's running and driving that doesn't have like huge fucking issues without it for that price. But we did find one close. Let's see if I can find it. This bad boy. Make sure homeboy. This thing. Like, this is a car I'd consider buying. It's a 98 Pontiac Firebird. It's got the 3800 in it. It's got the T-tops. It's clean. 140,000 miles. It's got cheap tires on it. But that's a clean car. They're a horrible car. There's nothing about this car that's horrible. The worst part about that kind of car is that it's going to have a 4L60 in it, which is the 4-speed automatic transmission GM put in cars in that generation. And at 140,000 miles, it might need a transmission soon. But the 3800 engine that's in that car, as long as you change the oil, that shit'll last. That car will take your kids to be buried. No, that's just stuff I was looking at, right? Again, Pontiac doesn't suck. Like, Pontiac uses the same Buick engines as everything else. All Pontiac was is an arm of basically Buick, but that was more performance, based more around performance. That 3800 Buick V6 is one of the best engines ever made. Period. Hey, Michael Merchant. Tommy Pham's a pile of junk too. Oh, the Grand Prix GTP? Shit. That had the 3800 Series 2 in it, which 3800 Series 2, the upper intake liked to melt on them. But, you know, it $100 part, 2 hours labor to change it out. While you're doing it, you might as well do the lower intake gasket as well. But it's completely fixable for less than $600 for the main problem. You also had, you also would have injector issues with them. But, like, I've seen multiple 3800 V6s with 500,000 miles on them. Yeah, what you want to talk about? We've talked about boxing too. I mean, old age is dying my beer grade for me. It's been pretty good. I'm hungry as fuck right now. I kind of want to go eat my hamburger. talk about my first date with Kelly. I think everybody knows my first date with Kelly, but I'll tell it. I met Kelly on Plenty of Fish in late 2013. This is after me and Brandy had broke up. So I went back on Plenty of Fish, and Kelly had pictures up where she had lost all this weight, and she had this whole story on her profile how she would walk around her property and stuff like that. And I looked at it, I'm like, hey, I really need this kind of person in my life. Somebody that's this motivated and has this type of experience. If nothing else, I'm going to reach out and be friends with this person. So we get to talking about February 2014. We've been talking for about 2 months now on Plenty of Fish. We actually were on Facebook at this point. Like, we just moved over from Plenty of Fish's Messenger to Facebook. And she asked me if I wanted to go get a steak dinner. That she's going to get off work here soon. Let's go to Texas Roadhouse, which is down the road. So I'm like, sure. I was in Loris at the time. I was helping my buddy Stan, FBS Hillbilly, if you ever followed my videos. I was helping him like put a idler pulley on his Pontiac and get it back on the road. So like he lived in Loris at the time, and I had to drive all the way to Murrells Inlet. So like it was an hour and a half drive I had to make there. So like I start making the drive. And apparently I called her once or twice too many times to let her know I was on the way, and she freaked out and she stood me up. Right, so she was feeding me lies how she was working late and stuff like that. And all the entire time she's working, I knew she was lying to me because she had her like location on her text messages, and it was telling me exactly where she was sitting at. And I was sitting in the parking lot of her job at that point. No cars were there. So, like, I go home mad as hell because I just drove an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it might be. It took me 2.5 hours completely to go from Stan's house to her job back to my home. Mad because I didn't get a steak dinner, I didn't get a date, and I just wasted, half a tank of gas. So I was driving my '02 Silverado back then. That bitch got like 12 miles a gallon. So it's not creepy. She told me to meet her at her work. That's how I knew where she worked at, because she gave me the address. So she stood me up, and I came back, and the next day we had PKA, and then I told the how I got stood up on a Plenty of Fish date story. We did get a donation. Let's see what we got here. Melvin Wings, I used to laugh, but now you're the only streamer I actually tune into. Big ups, man. Thank you, Melvin. Thank you for the $5 as well. She did get cold feet. So, like, she seen the PKO episode. She called me crying, and her feelings are hurt and stuff like that. But we kept talking. And she goes, do you ever want to go out again? I'm like, if we're going to go out again, you got to come to me. I'm not going to you this time. So we met for the first time in Applebee's in Conway. She ordered chicken tenders with French fries. I ordered club sandwich with French fries. And that was our first date. And no, we went Dutch. I think I had a Pepsi, and I think she did ice water. And we stayed friends we dated 2 or 3 times. We went on 2 or 3 dates after that, but we stayed friends because, like, she didn't like me that much when I was younger because I was a little more atheist back then. And I had testosterone, so I was a little bit more forward, and I wasn't as mature as I was when we got back together. Like, we pretty much stayed friends until like 2018. So we stayed friends for like 4 years. And we always called each other friends with benefit. I always called her my Christian friends with benefits because, like, she wouldn't have sex before marriage, but like she'd come and make out and stuff. So that's what we did. So she was my Christian friends with benefits. We would go to movies and we'd make out and things like that. I think what really tipped it over for Kelly was when she got cancer. She basically learned at the same time she probably couldn't have kids. And once kids were off the table, like, I was a lot more appealing because I didn't want kids. And I'd also matured a lot. Yeah, Kelly's cancer got cut out. She had to have her whole entire thyroid removed. Leon, here's the thing, right? Like, I would love to be a father, and I wouldn't mind adopting. But the second I adopted a kid, I'd have child protective services at my house every other week, because I can barely do a boxing match without people trying to, like, fuck things up for me. So it's almost pointless to drag a child into that situation. SB98, good game on the fight with wings. Glad Kelly's cancer free. Yeah, me too. Like, she has to be on a buttload of medicine because she don't have a thyroid now, but it's better than the alternative. Melvin, you still got the Pikachu picture on the wall? I mean, that one? Yeah, I still got it. My brother got me that for Christmas one year. I don't talk about Brandy on stream. I don't want people to go harass her. $360. Like, that corner over there is a little messy. There's some boxes I got to take out, but, like, for the most part, that's the room. I can't have kids. I have low T, and part of low T is having low sperm count. And Kelly can't have kids. Pretty much can't have kids either. I mean, it is what it is. Ever think about joining the military way back? No. When I was a young kid, my Uncle Jerry was in Vietnam, and he had all these photos of, like, really fucked up shit from Vietnam, because he had, like, a camera back then, and he was an artillery guy. And, like, I can tell you some fucked up Vietnam stories, or at least some stuff he's told me. You shouldn't cheer somebody hit my bitch. Jerry was a race car driver, 22 years old. I'll tell you one, Apollo, and it's kind of a fucked up one. So my Uncle Jerry used to have this picture of, and I don't know why he was showing, like, an 8-year-old. Why he showed 8-year-olds these fucking pictures. They terrified me forever. But the North Vietnamese were very, very, like, what word would I use it? Mystical. They were very superstitious. So when they blew somebody up with artillery shells, to keep from blowing more of them up with artillery shells, they would create totems. So my Uncle Jerry has, like, photographs of, like, people's heads on, like, sharp sticks, and their arms. They would create these crosses, and they would put the arms and the head on sticks, and they would put them out in the field. And as long as that was out in the field, the North Vietnamese wouldn't cross that field anymore. And they would create and he had multiple pictures of these things. Hey, Rest, thank you for the $5, man. Thank you so much. No, I didn't say. I'm just telling you what I was told, and he had pictures to go with these stories. But it was kind of hard to talk to my Uncle Jerry because he shot artillery guns for most of his life, so he's deaf in his ears because he didn't wear his earplugs, and he had these because he shot these big artillery weapons, and like you go, Uncle Jerry, how you doing? You know, you got to talk to him like that. Yeah, Uncle Jerry's still around. I met him at the family reunion the other day, and we were talking about diesel trucks. Cause he had a Dodge Eco Diesel. Uncle Jerry is my grandmother's brother, by the way. He was the only. Well, he was the second boy. He was the first boy. There were two boys, but the other boy had SIDS. He died in the crib. Dude, owned by Chucky. Thank you for the $5 as well, man. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Taylor's wife cheating about him? I don't know Taylor's wife that well, but I did find something fucked up because I watched the clip where Taylor talked about him going on the dating website, and I think the reaction from the guys was terrible. Right? Kyle pretty much said nothing, and then Woody asked how it hurt him financially. It's not like, "Are you doing okay, man? I'm sorry that your long-term relationship didn't work out. You know, it's fucked up that somebody wanted to cheat on you while you were there for them." You know, the whole thing. But, like, no reaction, and then asking how it's affecting him, like, financially is the wrong fucking move. It's just the wrong fucking move. I don't think Levi was in the military. Levi just liked guns. Do I think Siege will ever die out? Yes. I think Siege is already in the process of dying. I'm basically a Redditor. I don't consider myself a Redditor because like that would mean that me using a website is part of my identity, and it's not. That's like saying, I'm a PlayStation, I'm a Sony pony, but I'm not a Sony pony. It's one of these things. Thought about DSPL switching PayPal accounts for the week during 1K well donations occurring? Was he avoiding chargebacks or skating taxes? That wouldn't work either way. Let me get to your question. I'll get right back to your question, Chucky. Thank you for the 5. I love your wings. Kyle needs to stop watching TV and do things in real life like you. You have to do things to be entertaining. Like, because like you got to be constantly be changing or adjusting your life. And I agree with you, Chris. Thank you for the 5. Back to Chucky's question. PayPal, you have to put in a tax identification number. And even if you had multiple accounts, they would all be tied to you or to your bank account. So all of would go, they all get, PayPal pays out 1099K. So at the end of the year, they send you a W-2, well, a 1099K, stating how much money went through your PayPal account that was a net positive. So like changing PayPal accounts has nothing to do with skirting taxes, or you can't use it to skirt taxes because of that. Again, regardless, what you're trying to say is he has like that is one way that could happen, I guess, Chucky. You could be right about that. He could be using an LLC on his PayPal account and a personal PayPal account there, but he would get two different 1099Ks. So you could skirt a little taxes, but it's not illegal what he's doing if he's doing it that way, because like depending on how he pays himself with his LLC, that the money would still be taxed, if that makes sense. How do I feel about DSP saying I was a bum? That's his opinion. I don't care. Like, a lot of people call me a bum, Josh. I feel like I'm doing well. Like, I'm 37. I'm married. I have my own home. I have my own land. I mean, there isn't a gate between me, but at the same effect, I don't have to call my daddy to learn how to change a tire. Phil does that kind of mess. Like, Phil would moved across the fucking country to try to save on taxes. Donations are taxed. Donations are looked more as tips than actual donations. Because unless you're like a tax-free organization like a church or something, everything's looked at as like a tip. Like you're a waitress or something of that nature. That's exactly why he moved to Washington. No income tax. I just think Phil never had anybody. Like, I think Phil hides his problems with alcohol. Right? And when he hides his feelings with alcohol, it's a double-edged sword, because one, he doesn't have anxiety thinking about this money has to last, or what about next month or tomorrow, whatever it might be. What if, the transmission went out in my car? So there's never a savings account or like an emergency account. And like when he starts drinking, he also starts playing WWE Champions. And WWE Champions ends up costing him a second mortgage. I missed a dono? What did I miss? Jack Josh donated. Did you hear about machinima? I don't know what machinima is, but I think machinima went out of business a while ago, if that's what you're asking about. G Studios. Much love, homie. Thank you, G. Big ups, dude. Oh, your last dono. You said, thoughts on DS? Why would DSP use a personal PayPal for a week if he wasn't doing something sus? I report him to the IRS for specific info. Hopefully they catch on. That's a little rough, Chuck. Honestly. Again, like if you have two different PayPal accounts, they would both be taxed. The only thing about it is like one would be taxed at a higher rate than another. But that's determining if Phil actually uses his LLC to pay himself and not use it as just this isn't a Phil problem. I dealt with a lot of young men back in the day that had LLCs, which is a limited liability corporation, that they only had like a company in name only versus like a company that actually acted as a company. Like, the reason you have an LLC is so like if something was to happen, they would sue the LLC and you just file bankruptcy on the LLC and not have it affect your personal life. That's why they're called limited liability corporations. But like a lot of people would just have an LLC set up and they would just take all the money all the time and not use it as like a business account and pay themselves. I just don't see where Phil would be breaking any tax code by having two different PayPal accounts if one is his LLC and one isn't. He would get taxed, but like he'd probably get taxed at a lesser like fraction, but like it's perfectly legal in the United States what he's doing. How's the roof coming, Pimp? My roof is completely fixed. My homeowner's insurance covered it for hail damage. You can, lady, you can write stuff off for your business, especially if you have an LLC. Jack, I'll get right to your question here in a second. But for me personally, I have such low overhead for my business that it's easier just to file the standard deduction with marriage than I would get back for like claiming rainbow skins at this point in my life. Jack Johnson, who would win, LTG or Keemstar, and what? A fight? A business agreement? I'm assuming a fight. I'm going with Low Tier God over Keemstar in a fight. Keemstar is probably about 5'10", 5'11". Low Tier God is over 6 feet tall. And Keemstar is getting his workout game on now, but I just feel like Low Tier God has his workout game on point. I think Low Tier God wins that fight. Thoughts on Corrodio music? I don't know what that is. Kanye saying, thank you for the donation. Keem ain't 5'8". Keem is 5'10", 5'11". Like, Boogie is 5'9"-ish. And Keem is taller than Boogie. I'm 6 foot. So like if you look at me standing next to Boogie, there's about 3 or 4 inch difference. Thoughts on Cat C15? I don't know what you're referring to. If Keem spit my wife's, if DSP spit my wife's face, what my next course of action would be? To give him a combo, 2 pieces and a biscuit. Because spitting in somebody's face is considered assault, so I'd be well in my rights to defend her. I don't know anything about Caterpillar diesel engines. I'm not very knowledgeable about most diesels. I think EDP deserves an ass kicking, but I don't think anybody would pay him to get his ass beat. I'd like to see EDP versus Billy the Fridge. Since they used to be boys, let Billy the Fridge take all that aggression out on him. Shit, I'd fight EDP. Dude, DSP doesn't want to work with anybody because DSP doesn't want to lose any kind of creative control. And the fact is, if DSP had to be in something like Fish Tank, you'd see his alcoholism come out. Because when people that are alcoholics get into a situation where they can't consume alcohol, they get this thing called the shakes. And DSP would be shaking like a leaf on a tree if he had to be like 2 or 3 days without his gin. It depends on where I'm at. If my blood's dipping at all, like I haven't got hypoglycemic in a while because I've been taking my one-a-days, and I also have been taking my vitamin D's, which I don't want to show this one. This one has addresses and stuff on it. But I've been taking my 50,000 vitamin D. I've been taking my one-a-days. As long as I keep my blood right, I don't get hypoglycemic, but if I neglect some of my stuff or my medicine, I do. Who would win a fight, you or Penguin Zero? I would beat his ass. So that wouldn't even be a fight. Dude's like 160 pounds. Like, it all depends on where the fight would happen. If the fight happened in like a small room or a ring, I'm winning. If it happened in a parking lot, he'd win because he'd wear me out running away. So you pay $5,000 to meet him at the gym and have it film? Shit. I don't know, $5,000, I might have to show up. Shit, the baseball game getting good. I bet the Mets are fucking. They do 672. You got to look at the Mets Reddit. Go to the Mets Reddit, New York Mets, and look at that shit when other teams scoring on them. Those guys are the most salty fans in the fucking baseball universe. How do I get a real 5K at the box field at a gym? Honestly, if I could get Phil to fight, I could get Phil money. I guarantee you I could get Phil at least $15,000 to fight right now. Right now. Anybody. It doesn't matter who. He could fight Panda Lee far as I care. I could get him $15,000 to fight right now. I can't 100% guarantee it, but I can 90% guarantee I can get $15K in Phil's pocket if he'd agree to a fight. You'd bet on Panda Lee. Well, the fact is, you can't look at it like that. You got to look at it like work wise. Like all you got to do is 4 days of work for that $15K. You got to do your weigh in. You got to cut some promos. You got to do you got to do weigh in. You got to cut some promos. You got to do like a press conference, and then you got to show up and fight. Like $15K is good for 4 days of work. Like, because nobody expects Phil to win. Answer me this: what's the population on? But I have no clue, man. If you look at my house, we have carpenter bees here, and they're everywhere. Yeah, I'm always trying to lose weight. Problem is, I'm really good at finding that shit too. Dog, I don't know. Like here's the thing with Phil. Like he can make easy money. We'd have 16-ounce gloves. There'd be there's a doctor at the side of his corner. There's cutmen. Like, you seen how bad I put it on Boogie. And Boogie came out without a scratch on his face. His eyes weren't swollen, didn't break his nose or anything. I mean, he probably got his bell rung really bad. But the gloves are basically pillows. So, like, he wouldn't hurt himself at all. The only thing to get hurt is his pride. He's got a bad back. Dude, I fought Boogie with a pinched nerve in my hip. I pretty much couldn't pivot to my right side. It'll be alright. Dude, Phil ain't gonna last 12 rounds, dog. You might as well call it. You might as well do 3 2-minute rounds. Ain't no person that isn't conditioned to box going to do 12 rounds. Do you believe Cyrex will win in a boxing match? No. I honestly don't think Cyrex could beat anybody on this planet up that has all their working like limbs. I think if Cyrex versus DSP, I'm 100% going for a DSP win. That's a DSP win by exhaustion. Because I think both of them will be punching like you punch when you're asleep. You know that. You know that shit right there. But it would be fun as fuck to watch. Dude, moist critical versus dude. Again, like if a person has both arms and both legs and can stand up for more than 5 minutes, I'm picking them over Cyrax. Sorry, just picking them. I like the Trailblazer. I don't like the engine in it. The 1.5 liter turbo isn't a very good engine, but I love the look of it. My wife has the big version of it. She has the actual Blazer. And that's one of the nicest cars I've ever had. Like it's comfortable, it's fast. I really like the interior. It's Camaro-ish. Dude, the Mets Reddit is so fucking great. Like it is one of the Mets Reddit, and there's a guy named Tank. Like he literally busted his glasses last night when the Braves came back. It's a gift that keeps on giving. I don't enjoy banquets. Frank the Tank. What about Jared Genesis? I don't know. Like, I don't know much about Jared Genesis. I know he lost like an MMA fight against like a student of the Green Rangers, and he threatened to beat his dad up on camera, but I don't know a lot about him. I don't know anything about King Cobra either, but I know he's got some stupid ass lizard, and that shit's on his last legs. He is not able to take care of a pet. You know, Cobes is a gothic king. I'm about to play the fucking Braves game. I want to get off and watch this game. Shit, I'm about to end the stream. What druid build am I running? I am running a mixture of companion and earth. Like I'm using earth bulwark, and like boulder, and I'm using like I forgot what it's called, like the earth like move, and I'm concentrating mainly on base damage and anything that gives companion damage. So I'm using like I'm usually starting the fight with like a poison creeper and then throwing ravens and then backing up, and if anything chases me I'll throw the boulder. And then I have most of my equipment. I have like the occult guy giving me barrier. So if it has a percentage chance to trigger barrier. And then if anything stops me, like what killed my last druid was I didn't understand what unstoppable was. But unstoppable gets you out of like bear traps and webs and, you know, ice things. So it's like a get out of jail free card. I'm not going to have back surgery. I'm most likely going to get injections. All right, boys. Who'd win Penguins? I think Voice Critical would beat DSP. Jack Josh. I'm gonna call it right there. Thanks everybody for coming out to the stream. Thanks everybody for chilling out with me tonight. We should do Rainbow or Diablo or something tomorrow evening. It's muscle injections to try to loosen the muscle or area up around the nerve to kind of let it get unpinched. Thanks everybody for chilling out with your boy. Thanks everybody for coming by and throw some donations my way. Thank you for coming out, guys. Big ups to Chuck. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Peace, people.